4 years ago, we knew we wanted to do a podcast, so we did it. And that podcast you are listening to right now. I'm Robert Lamb. That's Amber Simpson. This is Will There Be Cake? How's it going, Amber Simpson?
Hi.
You didn't say hi earlier. What
you just said?
7 years ago. A score is 20 years. So 87 years.
Oh.
I think that's what it is. I don't know. That's what he said. And before we get into this about who said that, we want to introduce our guest back again because he just can't get enough cake. Claude.
He just can't get enough cake.
I said that actually. That was my.
That was his famous quote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's when he addressed. That was the Gettysburg Address or whatever. 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he talks about stuff.
I can't even pretend like I know what I'm talking about here.
Listen, I like how on every subsequent podcast you know less and less about this.
I was just gonna say I didn't know dick about guitars.
Umbrellas,
Abraham Lincoln.
Umbrellas, sure, fine. Guitars, Abraham Lincoln, no.
Yeah, I don't know much about him either.
Yeah, I heard he loved the theater though. Apparently,
he loved the theater.
He was a big fan of the theater.
He loved it so much it killed him.
Loved it a little too much.
Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president.
He was our 16th president. It's his birthday today.
And that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
Yep.
A lot of people consider Abraham Lincoln to be the best president.
Yeah.
Greatest president. Yeah.
Why is that?
He freed the slaves.
Yep. This is the big one.
He kept United States united because of the whole Civil War and stuff like that. He was trying to he tried to end the Civil War, and got everything, obviously the South was still unhappy with him. He got killed for it. but I heard he could never tell a lie.
Yeah. Do you think that's real?
I don't know.
No.
I think he was just a very...
No goddamn human on this planet.
I think he was probably they called him Honest Abe. Yep. I think he just told it how it was.
He's just blunt.
And I think he was a genuinely nice person, at least from all the historical.
He looks scary.
Facts.
All the
he was super tall.
Old pictures of him.
He was super tall, skinny, married to Mary Todd, right?
Mary Todd. I can tell you
Mary
about
Todd
his birth.
Lincoln.
He was born in a log cabin.
They all were back then.
On Sinking Spring Farm near Hodgenville, Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he was a president from 1861 to when he was assassinated in 1865. And he was only 56, and he looks like he's 80 in these pictures.
Yeah, he does.
Because that's what
he
happens.
Was very wrinkly.
When you lived in.
Did you see the movie Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Kind of.
It was about the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was good.
I really liked that historical documentary, the Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, that's another one I was going to bring up. Yeah. Hey, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in there. I think she plays Mary Todd.
Nice.
And Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers. I think it was her. Yeah, I saw that one. Historically accurate.
Yeah, I didn't know Abraham Lincoln was such a badass until I saw that
he was
movie.
Jumping from horse to horse, just slaying vampires.
Actually, I didn't see that movie.
I saw it, and
it
wasn't that great. I actually read the book, too.
What? Wow.
I read the book. That wasn't that great either. I don't know why I expected
the movie
anything.
First and was maybe the book's better.
No, I read the book first because I knew the movie was coming out. And even though I was I didn't really care, I was I'll read the book. So I read the book. And I was reading a lot in projection, so I read it, and I was that was okay. And then the movie came out, and I'm it's free. I'll go watch it. And I watched it, and I was I just wasted 2 hours. I could have done something else.
Yeah, I've never abused free time like I did when I worked at that movie theater.
Exactly. When you work in the movie theater, it's why not? It's free. Who cares if it's a shitty movie? I'll do it.
Yeah.
But Daniel Day-Lewis won an Oscar as Lincoln.
Yeah.
That was his third Oscar.
Good for him.
He was a pretty good Lincoln.
He was a good Lincoln.
He had a weird voice, though. I guess that's how maybe Lincoln sounded.
Also.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I don't think they know.
I'm sure you can
I didn't know they had photographs back in the day. I doubt they had voice recording.
Well, they had...
did they have voice recording?
I don't... When was radio? Because I don't think they had it then,
We did do Radio Day, and I don't remember.
But I don't think they had radio during the Civil War.
Yo, Abe, I'm making
Did they?
a podcast, bro, talking to this motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so we can play it 200 years later. No, I don't think they did. I think they had to like write letters to the cavalry, and then that's why like a lot of cavalries got fucked because like they got that letter too late.
Yeah,
Too many people over there. Yeah, a lot of people over there.
Someone shot down the goddamn pigeon. What are we doing?
Yeah. Dude, I can't imagine fighting a war back then, like any of that stuff. Like I'm reading War and Peace right now, and it's like the Napoleonic Wars, like in the early 1800s. They had to like send a guy on a horse to go tell them like where the other army was heading. It's like if that guy never got to you, like you're just screwed.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. Like that movie, was it 1917? Was
Oh,
that the one filmed in
1917.
Yeah, where that's the whole movie. It's
Yeah.
filmed in one shot. Is him traveling to just tell some news.
To give the word that like
Yeah.
they're about to be attacked. Like that's just like
the British are coming.
they're like if you don't make it, they're gonna lose 1,500 people. He's like, Jesus Christ, man.
A lot of people are
Like,
going to
that's
die.
a lot of pressure.
You better make it.
Like that's just insane. I just can't imagine like fighting during those times. And then like also if you got shot then like you were pretty much just dead. Like they didn't have medication or anything. Like they would try to chop off your arm. Like if you got shot in the arm, they're like, well, we don't want gangrene, so let's chop off that arm. And then if you live through that, maybe you're good.
Chop it off while you're awake still.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, they would just
anesthesia.
like give you some alcohol and then like bite down on a stick.
Yep.
And then just saw through your arm
Right through that bone and everything.
while you're awake. A lot of times they said like you would pass out though from
Well,
like
yeah,
just everything,
shock.
like all the shock and everything. You just pass out.
I can't imagine.
But I just can't imagine like doing that shit. Like that's just crazy. Anyway, more about Abraham.
So President's Day is Monday. So Lincoln's birthday combined with George Washington's birthday is why they celebrate. Well, like that's why we celebrate President's Day on the day we celebrate President's Day.
Oh, okay.
Because it's around both of their birthdays.
Right.
And then some states celebrate President's Day as Washington's or as their birthdays instead of Washington and Lincoln's birthday instead of calling it President's Day. They're like, fuck the rest of them. Just those two.
I mean, those are the two most important. I mean, there's some other presidents that did some stuff, but whenever you think of like the president of the United States, besides thinking of the one that's like current,
Yeah.
most people can tell you Abraham Lincoln and George Washington.
Yeah. But it's a federal holiday, so, people who have adult jobs get off.
That's true.
I get paid time and a half, but I chose not to work today.
Because you really wanted to celebrate, so we had to record.
No, because it's fucking like Valentine's Day week, so we're going to be busy. And then my other manager requested off, so she could be dumb Valentine's Day stuff with her boyfriend. So now
she's
it's just
like,
me working every day.
I want Valentine's Day. You can have Abraham
You
Lincoln's
can have
birthday.
Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
Like,
Fair trade.
Thank
you. Yes.
It's fine. I'll take it.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Trying to think like I don't know what else to talk about for Abraham Lincoln other than like freeing the slaves and like I mean when he died he went to the theater.
He made beauty marks popular.
Did he?
Yeah.
What was that? You're referencing a movie, right?
The beauty mark he had on his face.
Did he have one? Oh yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Okay, I was thinking of there was like a movie where like somebody had a beauty mark. I think of his face on their like ass cheek
What
or
the
something.
fuck?
I can't remember.
It was before Marilyn Monroe made him cool.
Yeah,
Abe
yeah,
Lincoln was
before
rocking
that.
shit.
Yeah, well, if Abraham Lincoln had a dress and went over a subway, I bet people would like him just as much.
He had that hat. That'd be the
Yeah.
equivalent, just blowing off his hat.
Just-
Like, oh
He's
my!
just wearing his hat like in like a spread. Put his hat in front of his junk.
Forth on this continent a new nation.
Is that his voice or someone reading
No,
it?
That's
somebody's
no way
reading
that's
it.
his
Dedicated to the
voice.
proposition that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
Now
had
we
really
are
good equipment
engaged
back
in
in
a great
1800.
civil war, testing whether
It's
that nation
really clear.
or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure.
This was speeches during the 1863 Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing.
No, because wasn't it like a super long one? Like it was a super long speech,
Yeah, this
like hours.
clip of it is yeah.
I'm already bored.
Yeah, listen.
It's a short.
All
clip
people
of
are
it, but
created equal. I know that. We're
We
good.
already know.
Just point 'em out,
but
I'll
not
shoot.
really.
But back then they didn't believe that. Back then they were like, well, just
All
the
the white
white rich people. Like just,
white men are
all
created
those
equal.
people are created equal. We'll get to the rest of people later. Women, no, they can't vote.
Those were the
But
days.
now, yeah, those were the days. Now it's different. I think that's why Lincoln is so popular, is because that viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't necessarily common throughout the United States, when they were murdering Indians and black people were slaves and women didn't have rights, like all that kind of stuff. Now it's like commonplace that everybody is, for the most part, treated equal.
He was the first one.
That's like the one that they can go back to and be like, well, Lincoln was the one who like addressed the situation literally.
Remember that time Lincoln thought people were people?
Yeah. Before Depeche Mode, that's a song.
Guitar Day was yesterday,
People
Rob.
are
Keep it
people.
moving.
Sorry, you set me up. And then when he got murdered by John Wilkes Booth,
Mm-hmm.
Sic Semper Tyrannis, he said, which I think is like death to tyranny or something.
Yeah.
But that's a William Shakespeare thing. I think he repeated it because he considered him like a tyrant or king or whatever. So he shot Lincoln in the back of the head, then jumped down from their balcony seats. I think he hurt himself.
Yeah, he broke his leg or something.
Yeah, but then he ran, and then I think there was a chase. I don't know how many days or like how many weeks, but it lasted. Like they were trying to find him, and I think they eventually found him in like a barn or something like that.
What was the reasoning behind the assassination?
I think it was just because of Lincoln's viewpoints, and the South hated Lincoln because they wanted to keep their slaves and
I'm
stuff.
sure people weren't
He just
happy
made a lot of
about
enemies
the
down there.
Emancipation Proclamation.
Was there like a group of people just set him up? Like,
I don't know. I think it was just one.
Assassins?
I think it was just one. I mean, it's the kind of like with the JFK thing. Like you just piss off the wrong guy, and like
He was a Confederate sympathizer, John Wilkes Booth.
oh, yeah. So I just
What was he sympathizing with?
he was sad that the Confederate lost, the Confederacy lost, so he was pissed, and he murdered. And back then they didn't have metal detectors, so he just walked right up in there with a gun.
Like, got him.
Yeah. I don't know where you would think he still had security though, so I don't know what happened.
Were they not patting people down back in the day?
Yeah, they probably had something. They probably had security, but I don't know how he got through it. I think he actually had a small one-shot gun. I think that was the thing. It was like a small one-shot or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he put it like right behind the back of his head and just fired
Somewhere in the temple or something like that.
Yeah, and then then he ran off.
Didn't hit the hat though.
He didn't hit the hat. Hat's
some
still
taste.
good. I wonder if they still have the hat somewhere. Probably not. I'm sure he had multiple hats too, like not just one.
I'm sure one of them sitting in a museum somewhere.
Yeah,
Go look at it, feel inspired.
that's crazy though. I
And he's on our penny.
which
guess
is
you
probably
didn't
going to
know.
be obsolete soon. Do you think they move him to another currency if they get rid of the penny?
I mean, they should.
They should, if all the presidents.
Yeah,
Put 'em
kick
on
off one
something.
of those awful ones.
I throw pennies away.
That's what I'm saying. It's like pennies aren't worth. It costs more to make the penny than it
Yeah.
does to. Like,
I mean, he's
spend
still
it.
on a $5 bill, so like.
That's true.
we
Actually,
don't-
yeah. never mind.
he doesn't need to be on another coin.
I don't carry cash anymore, so I don't. I mean, every once in a while.
I'll slap them on my debit card.
Yeah. Put a sticker of Abraham Lincoln. They should have them on. They should put presidents on debit cards. That's what they should do. That'd be cool.
Fun fact.
Give me an
Since we were
FDR.
talking about beards earlier with both of you and your big beards,
Yeah.
he's usually like portrayed as being bearded, but he didn't grow a beard until 1860, and it was because of a suggestion of 11-year-old girl. He was
Did
the
she
first
call him
of
ugly or
16
something?
Grace Biddle. I don't know who she is.
Trying to impress an 11-year-old. Jeez.
That's kind of weird.
Jeez, Abe, no wonder you
I
got
wonder.
shot.
I wonder. Well, see, I always assume like the beards are like the makeup for men. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to shave my beard anytime soon. Like, it makes me a little more rugged. Like, I need it. So maybe that's what Abraham Lincoln needed at that point.
Yeah.
I
He was
swear
during
to
a
God,
war.
I am just too fucking lazy to keep up with it. That's the only reason I have a beard.
Right.
Do you use any like beard oils or anything weird like that?
Yeah, I just bought some like beard shampoo.
Nice.
See, I
But
just
it's
use
really-
regular shampoo.
My skin breaks underneath it. And I got like beard dandruff.
That's
Oh,
why.
yeah.
That's why I actually grew out the beard, was because my face would already get like red down here, and every time I shaved it, it made it even worse. So my face would just be red all the time. So finally, I was like, well, let me just power through and see what the beard would look like. And I ended up powering through, and actually it's not as itchy, but I use like certain shampoos and stuff, and like now I don't get that dry skin.
Yeah.
But like I feel like if I were to shave it, the dry skin would come back, and I
Yeah,
don't want to do it,
totally.
or the redness anyways. So I'm like, I'll just keep a beard. It's fine.
I'm too lazy to shave my damn head.
Why you just
I love
wear a
that
hat, man? Just wear a hat.
Yeah, just wear a hat. Wear a top hat
Top hat.
like Lincoln.
I saw someone downtown wearing a top hat last night. It was
I-
odd. And he
I
had
think
like
we
a
should
feather.
go back
He had
to.
a feather.
What is the
that
occasion
is
to
weird.
wear a top hat?
I don't think there is an occasion
Being
anymore.
a weirdo.
I don't think there's ever occasion to wear a top
Abraham
hat
Lincoln's
nowadays.
birthday.
Unless you're like part of, or unless
Just
you're
that
part
one
of like
day.
some murder mystery on a train or something.
Yeah.
Like you're dressing up for the part. You're like your girlfriend's wearing a feather boa or something.
That's a dead giveaway. It's always
Wow.
asshole with
You
the
were right. He
stovetop
was
hat.
6'4". That's old for or man. That's old.
That is old.
That's
though.
old. That's tall for back then, right? Like people weren't 6'4" in the
Well,
fucking
okay, so I heard
1800s.
when I was in elementary school, I always heard that George Washington was really short, and that back then people were really short, and that if you went to like his house where he grew up and saw his bed, you would be like, wow, he was really short. But then over the past couple of years, I've learned that George Washington was actually pretty tall too. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on. I didn't want you to believe people were tall.
Well, I'm also reading War and Peace, and they mentioned like Napoleon wasn't that short either, and I always heard he was super short. So I don't know what's
Well,
going
he was
on.
famously short.
Yeah, but they're saying he wasn't. He was like 5'10" or 5'11", like how I am. I'm like, what's going on here? History, like for some reason, just loves to throw these like leaders down and say that they're short, like little
who
short
cares what their height is? That's so fucking
Do
weird.
you still think Columbus discovered America?
people. Listen,
We did Columbus
Well, if
Day.
he
We've
did,
discussed
I bet
this.
you he was 5'11" doing it. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's probably 4'2". It's fine.
No, but my whole thing, my problem with history is that, like, you know, you get quizzed on this stuff in history class, and then you find out 5 years later that Pluto's not a planet, and I should have got an A on that assignment. So-
I only care about political leaders that are 6 feet and over. Everyone else,
yeah, yeah,
I don't give a shit.
yeah. So you're like, no Napoleon, no
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, they did nothing for the
They did
country.
nothing for us.
There were no presidents until Abe Lincoln's 6 foot tall ass.
I will say that because, especially nowadays with how the political climate is and everybody's so divided, that I've like read articles that were more geared towards like Republicans and conservatives, and then read some articles towards like Democrats and like liberals, and on both spectrums, it always seems Lincoln is still like the top dog. Like when they do like their lists of like the best presidents,
Yeah, he's always.
they'll put
number
like
one.
more Republican presidents up there, like on their list, and Democrats will put more on their list. But it's always still like Lincoln is still like number one first. Like he's always first. So that's something. That's why we
That's-
still celebrate his birthday.
That's like protection. That's how you're like, hey guys, I'm not racist. Look how much I love Lincoln.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like I can't be racist. He was my number 2 pick.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of it too. Anyways, I just that's something. That's why we celebrate his day, and that's why we're celebrating his birthday.
That's why.
But
How are we celebrating?
yeah, first, how do we celebrate the day? Watch Lincoln with
watch
Daniel
Lincoln,
Day-Lewis
yeah.
or Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, I'm watching Vampire.
I'm sure you can watch a shit ton of documentaries or
Oh, there's
read
a ton.
books
Yeah.
or just read the Wikipedia page as I'm doing right now.
But really, Vampire Hunter is the only one you need.
That's
That's
the
true.
solid one. I think I did read the Wikipedia page for Vampire Hunter to see what was accurate in that, just to see if there was anything accurate. I just wanted to see what they carried over. If they did any research, or he was just like a kid who failed out of school was like, I'm going to write a book about Lincoln that I know nothing about and just make him a vampire hunter. But they actually used a lot of his like biography and him growing up. They just threw in vampires at some points.
There was no throwing in. That's a historical document.
Sure.
Lincoln was self-educated. That's crazy. He just taught himself.
You had to back then.
To hunt vampires.
He was born in a log cabin, like in the middle of Kentucky. There was probably nothing else around.
And was surrounded by
Except for,
vampires.
except for pilgrims, that some of which may or may not have been vampires.
Yeah. It was tough out there.
I love
I
the
mean,
sentence.
they did believe some of them were witches back in the day, so who knows?
They were.
Sure.
Did you read the book? Jeez.
The witch book? I've read about the witches. If they didn't float, then they were okay. But
Yeah, when they were
When
forced
they
to carry,
tied, like
50 pounds of rocks
Yeah,
and they didn't float.
How come they're not floating? Well, maybe they weren't a witch. Well, they're dead now.
Why is she floating? Because she's a witch. Burn her.
They would literally just start pointing fingers at each other.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, at one point, I think I read about like the Salem witch trials, and they just had like a bunch of them in the cell because they like were locking them up when people would start accusing them. They just started accusing like too many of them, and then they were dying in the cell just because they weren't taking care of
Jesus.
them. It's just so like I don't know what the future holds. Maybe the future is like going to be awesome, but I'm just glad
Probably
I'm born at least now where I didn't have to deal with that bullshit. Like that just sucks.
We have other bullshit to deal with.
We have other bullshit, but at least I'm not rotting in a cell because some other asshole was just
pointed
like,
at me.
yeah, that guy like lifted a broom or something.
He looks
without his
witchy.
hands. Yeah,
I saw him walking around at night.
yeah. So that was kind of
Definitely a
fishy.
vampire.
Yeah,
Call Abe Lincoln.
calling like a black cat to him,
Calling
the pet. So, yeah, just I think I'm just gonna watch Lincoln. I'm just gonna watch Daniel Day-Lewis do his thing,
Yeah.
and then yeah. I mean, are we gonna have cake? Because
Duh,
it's his birthday. We gotta have cake.
Do we sing happy birthday?
I think we should sing happy birthday.
Right now? No.
No, not now, but to celebrate, I think you.
That's weird.
Before you
Thank
eat
God,
the
I
cake.
really regretted that decision.
Yeah, right when you said it. I think you gotta celebrate. You gotta
Happy
sing it to
birthday,
him.
Lincoln. Thanks for being the best president ever.
Yeah, this side of the Mississippi and the other side.
And thank you for keeping us safe from vampires. I appreciate it.
I
Most
do too.
importantly.
Robert and Amber don't seem to care, but I appreciate that.
I just don't think it's his. I think freeing the slaves would probably be number one, and
Probably
then
at the top.
vampires too.
Yeah.
All right, well, we had different lives growing up, Robert. All right, you didn't
Jesus.
face a vampire threat
You
as a
got
child.
you got
all right?
attacked by a lot of pointy teeth motherfuckers. Just get some onions, you'll be good.
It's garlic.
Oh yeah,
See,
onions.
you're already
That's
dead.
true.
You're
Wow.
already dead. That's already dead.
Same thing. I bet you they don't like onions either.
You just pull out an onion and you're like, no. And they're like,
Whatever.
what?
Crosses, garlic, that you can't come inside unless they invite you. Like you invite them. It's like you can be safe from a vampire so many ways. Okay, like there's not that many that are going to attack you. Just don't let them in your house. Yeah,
True.
exactly.
You're right.
You
All
don't
right.
know before you let him in.
Well, you know if you're making friends.
Yeah, you're like, dang, girl, you cute. Come on in.
You're cute
She's
and
like,
very
"Thanks."
pale.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Yeah. Well, just don't do that.
One time in the AIM days, some person randomly sent me a message and told me he was a vampire and knew like all about my life, and I believed him. I'm pretty sure it's just like one of my friends fucking with me, but I
You
was
didn't
young.
know his screen name?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Was it Abe Lincoln
Vampire.
69?
B Hunter 69. All right. That does it for this episode of Will There Be Cake. Thanks for joining us again, Claude.
Of course.
Glad we got you on an episode that you were just dying to talk about
Wow.
At least we
I've
could talk
been thinking
about
this
vampires
the whole
and
time.
beards.
all the time.
Yeah. That's why we invited you. You had the beard.
I figured.
Yeah.
Makes
There
sense.
really wasn't any other reason.
Yeah, really not. All right, for Amber, for myself, that's been Will There Be Cake, and go celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday, sing happy birthday, and have a fun, grand old time.
Look
Yeah.
out for vampires.
And watch out for vampires.
Thank you.
Get some garlic and onions and make a soup. Bye, guys.
This has been a Seven Lamb production.